Chris here, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to bring you my TBR for Spookopoly. So, this is a month-long readathon hosted by Becca and the books. I will link her channel in the announcement video in the description below, and normally she does this in September, but she pushed it back to October. And so instead of playing Bookopoly, we're going to play Spookopoly. So this is essentially a Monopoly board that she has created with some spooky prompts this time. And I am so excited to be taking part and getting to play the game with her. I have already filmed my rolls, so I'm going to pop a video in here, and here is roll number 1. So here's the board, and if you count 8 spaces, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that would land me on green. So for this, I need to read a book with a green cover, and I'm going to read Garlic and Witch by Bree Paulson. This is a spoopy middle grade graphic novel. It is the sequel to Garlic and the Vampire, which I haven't read, but I'm hoping to get to both this month. And I mean, I don't think you can get much more green than that. So I'm very excited to check this out, and I will hopefully enjoy it. I can't tell you much about it because, again, this is the second book in the series and I haven't read the first one yet, but I'm hoping I love it. I've heard good things about it. For the record, I have my own board here on the phone, so I know exactly where we're going, and I'm just double checking. Time for roll number 2. And as you can see, we got a 6. So starting with green, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we get Stabby. So I believe for this, you needed to read like a thriller or maybe a horror or like grim dark fantasy. And I just so happen to have a thriller in mind for this month, and that is A Flicker in the Dark. I don't know anything about this other than that, like, it's a thriller. I go into my thrillers blind. I actually gave my mom 4 off my shelves that looked interesting based on covers alone. And this is the one she said she thought I would enjoy the most. So we'll see, but hopefully I will enjoy it. Thrillers are hit or miss for me. Sometimes I really enjoy them. Sometimes I don't. I'm hoping this one falls in the enjoy category. Plus, I think that is a really, really cool cover. And roll number 3 is a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brings me to Daphne du Maurier. And for this, you either need to read a gothic fiction or a book by Daphne du Maurier. And so for this, I decided to go with a book by Daphne du Maurier because I've read 2 of her books. I think it's My Cousin Called Rachel and Rebecca. I really enjoyed them. I hadn't heard of any of her other books, so I picked 4, read the descriptions to my dad, and let him pick one. And the one he went with is Frenchman's Creek. And this is described on Goodreads as: bored and restless in London's Restoring Court, Lady Donna escapes into the British countryside with her restlessness and thirst for adventure as her only guides. Eventually, Donna lands in remote Navron, looking for peace of mind in its solitary woods and hidden creeks. She finds the passion her spirit craves in the love of a daring French pirate who is being hunted by all of Cornwall. Together, they embark upon a quest rife with danger and glory, one which bestows upon Donna the ultimate choice: sacrifice her lover to certain death or risk her own life. All of the choices sounded interesting. My dad said you can't go wrong with pirates, so I will be reading Frenchman's Creek for Daphne du Maurier. Roll number 4 is a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This leads us to our first train station, and it is What a Ghostly Scene. These are all Taylor Swift lyrics, and for this you need to read a ghostly book, or a book with a ghost in it. And I have chosen Dummy of a Ghost by Sue Ann Jafarian. This is, I want to say, like book 4.5 in the Ghost of Granny Apples mystery series. And I always forget I have these because I own the ebooks. And for some reason, this popped into my head when I saw this prompt, and I went, oh, this is perfect. Because in the first book, I believe our main character's name is Emma, and she finds out that she has the ability to communicate with ghosts, one of whom is her many-time removed great-grandmother, who was accused of murdering her husband but was innocent, and wants Emma to prove her innocent hundreds of years later. I've really enjoyed the books I've read in this series, and like I said, I just keep forgetting that I have access to them. So I was really, really excited when I remembered this time around and was able to put it on my Spookopoly TBR because it's perfect for spooky season. As it's also a cozy mystery, and I think of cozy mysteries, not necessarily spooky, but fall, and it's the same time of year. So it does double duty. Then, as Becca does 5 rolls, this should be my final roll. Roll number 5 is a 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we got Becca. For this, I'm going to read Nevermore. I was looking for a recommendation, and somebody in Becca's Discord for her Bookopoly mentioned that they only read middle grades and was wondering if Becca had any middle grade recs, and Nevermore was mentioned. I've read this book multiple times. I absolutely love it. And when I saw that, it sounded so good that I was like, huh. I think this is giving me the perfect excuse to reread Nevermore. So I'm going to do it. This follows a young girl named Morgan Crow who, on the eve of her 11th birthday, instead of dying like she was supposed to because she was cursed, gets whisked off to Nevermore by Jupiter North, and Nevermore is quite the interesting place to end up. It's very, very different than the world that Morgan is used to. She's just grateful to be alive, and I absolutely adore this series. It is one of my favorite series. If you ever need a curse rack, Nevermore, absolutely. And like I said, when I saw that it was a recommendation from Becca, it just felt like a sign from the universe that it was time to do a reread of Nevermore. Now, well, that was supposed to be my final roll because I did not roll any doubles. I pulled Becca's Bookopoly from that mess over there. So what I decided I was going to do was do a 6th roll and just include it in this video, since I would be talking about my Spookopoly prompts, and I was going to use my Spookopolathon board rather than my Bookopolathon board from last year, which is what I normally do because it's spooky season, and why not read another book from the spooky board? So for bonus roll number 6, it's another 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we get another train station. There is nothing I do better than revenge. And this means we need to read a book with revenge in it. So for this, I'm going to read Red Rising. I know nothing about this book. Originally, this was my Becca rec because I did my rolls for this TBR before I filmed that. And then, well, I added a 6th roll, and I'm struggling to find a book with revenge. So I was re-watching Becca's recommendation video. I'll link that below, as well as she gives you recommendations for pretty much every prompt on the board that is possible to give recommendations for. And she mentioned when she brought this one up that it is one of her favorites, which is why I was using it for Becca's rec. But then she said you could even use this for revenge because she mentioned a bunch of prompts it fit for. And I went, well, I'll move that to revenge. Then I went to the Discord, saw that Nevermore was an option for a Becca rec, and went, oh, perfect. I'll just move this one to revenge. So I know nothing about it other than that Becca really, really loves it. I know she said that it is a bit slower to get into, but that by the end of the first book, you're going to want to pick up books 2 and 3 and continue on with the story. So I'm hoping that that happens for me. And yeah, I'm very excited to check out something that Becca has highly recommended. So there you have it. Those are my Spookopoly rolls. I am so excited to take part. I've already decided I'm going to do a dedicated vlog, so keep your eyes on my channel for that, where I just sit down and try to read all of the books that I have specifically rolled for Spookopoly, including my bonus one from my TBR game. I want to thank Becca for doing this again, as I always have a brilliant time playing along and getting to play Bookopoly, or in this case, Spookopoly, as it gets me out of my comfort zone a little and usually drives me to maybe pick up something I wouldn't have this time, Red Rising. But that's all for this TBR. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me dice emojis, like this video, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!